Hello and welcome to another edition of Journalist Hangout. I am Veronica Dani Ikoyi. Today on the program, NCC suspends planned increase in the price of data. INEC insists the Ondo governorship election was not rigged. And later on the program, PDP senators walk out as colleague defects to APC. I am being joined by Charles Idiho. Thanks for coming on the show. And we have Ganyu Balogun, GKB. Thanks for coming on the show.
It's a pleasure.
And we have Tunde Abaton. Thanks for coming on the show.
It's a pleasure to be here again.
Journalist Hangout starts now. On November the 1st this year, the Nigerian Communications Commission, that's the NCC, gave a directive to telecoms operators in Nigeria to increase their data tariffs. This tariff hike was to take effect from today, that's December the 1st. But few asked to the takeoff, Nigerians took to social media saying such pricing policy was insensitive to the prevailing economic situation in the country and was unnecessary. In fact, thousands have signed petitions against it online. On Wednesday, the Nigerian Senate joined the debate. It asked the NCC to immediately halt its plan to jack up data tariffs. But in a dramatic twist, the Minister of Communications, Adebayo Shitu, has distanced himself from the story. He said he was not a party to it. What is going on? But gentlemen, before we understand what is going on, the NCC has suspended the directive. Is this something to cheer? Looking at it realistically, when you say suspend, that doesn't mean cancellation. I'll start with you today.
Well, I think the real problem we have in this country is that rather than doing what it's supposed to be doing first, we prefer for the public to cry out, and here we now start doing what we are supposed to do. The NCC, they are supposed, as a government body that is not above any law of the country, there's a particular law setting of the NCC. One would have expected them, so far they are dealing with the public, to first of all consult as the Senate. But for the intervention of the Senate, they will have collected that money. And you and I know that if they collect it for 1 week, even if it is 1 week before the intervention, they will have making billions of naira, which will be pretty difficult to refund to customers. MTN up to today, I'm not sure whether they have made any refund to customers in Nigeria. So it is unfortunate that in a government that came on board by popular acclaim, any organ of the government can decide to do things outside the law of the country. I think it is unfortunate that NCC, because NCC is under the Ministry of Communication, and the minister came out to say that he's not aware of that. How could a body that is under a particular ministry now come out to say that they are acting independent of that particular ministry? Can they act independently? Or should we take it that the Minister of Communication is not telling Nigerians the truth? So I think it is unexpected of this particular government that this kind of thing should be happening in this country. It is also in this country that we have the discourse refusing to give meter to Nigerians, and instead they prefer estimated billing. And by estimated billing, it means that whether you use light or not, you have to pay. So in other words, Nigerians will continue to be at the mercy of operators, both in the in electricity sector, in the communication sector, or any other sector, because it will appear the government is here to have a firm grip of the control of these bodies, not only the body of the high sectors of the economy. I mean communication, electricity, and some other things, including the petroleum sector. You know what happened during the first scarcity? It will appear as if the government is at the mercy of the independent marketers. So I think there has to be that the Senate has to put its face down that anybody in Nigeria that has to do anything that concerns Nigerians, they don't have to wait for whistleblowers to do this thing for them. The Senate is supposed to be performing oversight function. I think at the end of this NCC thing, somebody should be punished.
Okay, I'll come to you, GKB.
Somebody should be punished.
Realistically, cancellation or suspension, what are we dealing with here?
We are dealing with a pause in the direction that this government is going. And it's not only the telecoms. They are going to eat us with everything they got. We are going to pay more for road usage. Remember, toll gates are coming back. Yeah. We are going to pay more for petroleum, one way or the other. Just last week, it was raised that they were spending $2 billion a month subsidizing kerosene. Meanwhile, officially, There's no subsidy on kerosene for the last 7 years. So that means you are subsidizing something that does not exist.
Giving us hints.
So even this one they are telling us, about 2 months ago it was raised that they must tax voice and data. They warned us, but because our attention is usually less than 72 hours, we don't seem to get the signs when these people come on board and try to warn us. This is just a pause. It's not the end of the battle. Because this government will still go ahead and look for money anywhere they can. And instead of being creative, they're going to fall back on the inconsequentials and pass the cost to us. And that's the danger that I fear.
Charles.
Well, mine is that I think it's rather very unfortunate that we have come to this ignominious road. Some of us who stuck our necks out campaigning for a very popular presidential candidate who later became president. I never really thought that we're going to come this way where all of us have to be complaining, we're going to be thinking whether it was right we voted this government in or not. It has come to that, and that's very bad, okay? As he has said, I think government just try to fly a kite. You know, looking for money everywhere. You remember recently there was the introduction of 50 Naira stamp duty, which a court has said is exactly.
Another one, not to cut short, another one is on the way for you to procure an international passport.
Okay, you have to pay tax. You have to show evidence of tax.
Payment.
Okay, so you have that. You have the 50 Naira stamp duty, which the court has said is illegal, but right now it's still ongoing as I speak. And then you have a lot of them like that, she said. I think the government is just trying to look for money. But if you go to organized economies of the world, what they do usually, they want to tax people, they tax progressively. The more you earn, the more you pay. You don't have to take recourse to the little, the disposable income in possession of the poor. Yeah. You tax the rich in order for you to fend for the poor. But here, what happens is that you are looking for money. You want to show up your revenue. You are looking for you're not looking the way of the rich. You are looking at the way of the poor, and the poor are supposed to be protected in any economy. But here, the reverse is the case. Now they had a meeting on the 19th. This NCC had a meeting, and they call it a consultative meeting. You know, we're supposed. If you look at the stakeholders meeting, who are supposed to be the stakeholder? You have the NCC on the one hand. It's going to be a tripartite. Yeah. You have the NCC, you have the operators, and then you have the consumers. But what did you have? The government was not there. The government was not there. So if you said you had a meeting where you determine, the right pricing for data, and then these people who are the target users are not there, then you were just trying to shortchange them. And then the decision was taken on the 19th of October. Then the directive came on the 1st of November. But they waited until 3 days to the end of that month. It tells you that somebody was just trying to fly the kite. And I also want to ask this, as Abadan has said, that the Minister Shitu said he wasn't aware of it. The NCC, yes, I think I would love a situation whereby it's giving autonomy, but quasi-autonomy, not total autonomy. And autonomy does not exist in a vacuum, because there's no vacuum right now. And if you are talking about autonomy has to be to the extent of the freedom given to you by the authority giving you that freedom, which is the Minister of Communication. So if you have met, and then you know there's no recourse to the ministry that supervises you, you not fix price, you don't come up with this decision, then it tells you that somebody along the line is not saying the truth. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, right now, I believe that if there had been a board in existence, because right now the NCC board has not been constituted, if there had been a board, probably, maybe the issue would have been trashed out by the board. Argument for, argument against would have saved us this embarrassment. But I think it's an embarrassment, and it's something they must not come back with, because with the anger in the land, it might cause a lot of violence.
Are you sure that they won't come back with this?
Oh, they will come back. They will come back. Nigerians are very simple people. And we are
very gullible. Very gullible.
I don't want to use the word
very gullible.
Nigerians are very simple people. The trick is this: the quality of data will fall to be drastic.
If the price remains the same.
And the price will remain the same. So you will now be forced to take an higher cost to get quality data. So whether you are paying now or paying later, somebody will pay. And it's not going to be the government. It's not going to be the telcos. The problem with antitrust is that the countries where they copy these things from have a laid down rules to protect the small man. It's not simply by waking up one day and said data is going to cost 0.94 or data is going to cost 0.84. That's not the issue. The issue will have told us a year in advance that you are crowding out the small guys, and the small guys are now giving tax breaks to compete. But what you've done now is simply tell them, we are looking for money, where are we going to hang it on? Let's hang it on the big guys. And I'm telling you from conversation with people inside the telcos, they were not happy. Because some people are trying to gain a particular market share. And by doing this, you are cutting them off. Because by cutting data regularly, you are attracting more people to your network. And by forcing you to now go up, you lose those customers. And they'll go to those they think can afford. The best price we are not supposed to be announced. It's not for public consumption. When I read the press release, I said, this is almost criminal.
Quickly, we have a caller on the line, Ola from Lagos. Go ahead with your contribution. Ola, are you there? All right, go ahead. You could just round up.
Just round up. So whatever we pay now, or we pay later. This government has shown it has no point in protecting us. All we have to do is we are now on our own.
And I quickly ask something to do, maybe for the benefit of our viewers who are also listening to us, they need to know that NCC has no mandate to fix prices. At all. I will tell you what, the primary role of the NCC is not to fix prices, but to provide regulatory guidelines to protect the consumers. Okay.
We'll come back to the role of the NCC after this break. Just stay with us. Yes, you're watching Journalists Hangout, and before we went on the break, Charles, you were trying to tell us the role of the NCC.
Exactly. So I was saying that just three primary roles, and then price fixing is not part of them at all.
But the body has said it is not fixing the price.
But of course, it's just about semantics. When you are saying you want to jack up the price of data, in order to protect the small. I mean, the question is that what happens to the market forces that we have been preaching all this while? On the one hand, you preach the gospel of the market forces. The market forces should determine prices in an economy. On the other hand, you are not saying you want to surreptitiously jack up prices in order to protect the small players. That is no way to run an economy. And even when you look at the rules of the NCC, none of it is to protect the consumers. If you jack up prices,
how are you protecting the consumers?
You are protecting the players to the detriment of the consumer.
But is there a way the NCC can go about this without it affecting the consumers?
There are so many ways.
There's so many ways.
How? We need to hear that.
The first one, of course, is the fact they must let the consumer be aware of the base elements.
As stakeholders.
So you know they're fine. You cannot sustain this regime, even in the free markets. Because if you go like this, most of these players will pack up. That's the first filler. Second filler is now to work out a system where data will be paid. In some countries, they pay no data. They pay for data on weekends. They don't pay at all.
Yes.
There's some they pay only at particular hours. There's some that even limit payment of data to offices. Parks, schools, university campuses are free. So it's not really peculiar. But when people come and tell you we are doing this to protect the small guys, you have to look at the fine print. Instead of that, they're just protecting their jobs and the job of their boss.
All right, we have a caller on the line, Peter from Kwara State. Peter, are you there? Go ahead with your contribution.
Hello, good evening. My name is Peter. I'm calling from Ilorin.
All right, go ahead. Thanks for joining us.
On the issue of increment of data price, it's just that this government is trying to tell us that they want to transcribe what is applicable in Lagos State to Nigeria as a whole. And one thing they forget to understand is Lagos is variable when it comes to business. So you can't copy and paste the policy because of the fact that Lagos has business, they can earn. When you tax people, they have a turnaround, they have a turnover to pay back. As far as Nigeria is concerned, Nigeria is not like Lagos. And in doing that, one of our major challenges, we are bringing young people to mount a sensitive position like the communications ministry. This man is a lawyer, for God's sake. Bringing a lawyer to mount something that has to do with ICT. What do you expect? You expect things like this. And like the guys in the studio have said, we are still going to suffer for it because one, FRSC is coming up with their own policy. They are going to increase tax. They are going to increase the amount you pay in taking your driver's license. And I'm not an advocate of those that said our internet should be free. because countries that have free internet, they've gone so far. They've passed through our own state. So we should. I'm not saying we should go to their state. As in we should just jump to where they are now. We have to pay, but not in excess, not at the detriment of we eating. We now pay more
Peter.
for data.
Thank you for your contribution, Peter. Well, one other issue for me is the fact that we've had the data services for over or less a decade now. Yeah, so why are we having this jack-up or restructuring happening now at this time of recession?
Well, again, yes, at this time of recession, this is a time where the projections of the government has gone wrong. They are unable to project what and what they need to do what and what. So invariably you discover that all organs of government, yes, the minister may come out to deny knowledge of the existence of the agreement he has the NCNC, but I'm telling you, they are all in the know. In the know in the sense that none of the government agency can tell you that they don't have any target. This is a government of target. They are targeting revenue all round. NYSC is targeting some, FRS they are targeting, immigration is targeting, VIO they are targeting their own, the Nigerian Road Safety Commission, and beside that, this company, Corporate Affairs Commission,
and customs,
immigration, everybody. So the thing now is that as the 2017 budget is about to be presented, Nigerians will now see the face of what we call primitive capitalism. Because in Nigeria, the Nigerians who are being made to pay are not Nigerians who are actually making the money. Yes. It is the rich that are being protected. That is why I call it primitive accumulation of capital by the state. It is the state that is going to get this money, because I am telling you now, before the SNC can come out, they will have explained to the minister the financial implications
and the gains.
The gains. You know, the implication is the gain, yes, because they will make money to every data sent out by the MTN or Airtel or Etisalat. They are making money from it because they are making money from the bulk money they are making. So there's a VAT on it. So whether you like it or not, the minister cannot just explain to us, they are just pretending. So what it means is that all organs of government, Nigerians should tie their belt, because we are going to pay more for almost all services from January 1 next year. This, by NCNC, is an indication of what is probably in the budget for that particular department. So the primitive accumulation of capital in an economy that is in serious, it's primitive.
Because it's not creative.
It's not creative. In an economy that is in serious recession, it's against the people of Nigeria.
Before you quickly add, we have Ola on the line. Ola, you can go ahead now with your contribution.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, I think this is not the right time for NCC to increase the data tariff, because so many things have been going on in the telecoms company in which many people have been sacked, and the Senate, everybody are not saying anything good. They ship these jobs to India, and Indian are now monitoring our network right from India. The Senate are not saying this, the government are not saying this. So many people are not looking into this, and which is very, very wrong. I think we have our NLC. We have so many people. Must they increase from this? Must they increase before they give us good services? They shouldn't. These companies are very rich and they are good at what they do. The infrastructure is generating money for them. They have so many things generating for them in Nigeria, and they are moving this job, and nobody's looking into it.
Thank you for your contribution, Charles.
So I was saying that when you take a look at, just to add to what they said, I'm also going to repeat it, that the government flew a kite. You remember the CBN governor, sometime last week or 2 weeks ago, we also flew on that kite, that if you make any call beyond three minutes, you're going to be paying about 15 naira per. It is the question: why is the government always targeting the poor? I tell you, when I was in Dubai, Etisalat was the only network at that time. We're paying so much. At that time, Mubadala. Then DU came in. DU came in and was giving SIM free. And when you if you made a call, maybe you have run out of airtime, they will allow you to finish your conversation. You are now on debit. So when you recharge next time, you now pay.
But here,
and they did that, and Etisalat was now forced to be doing the same thing in Dubai at that time. But over here, they don't do that. Now, there's another area I'm going to have to look at in this thing, is that when you say, on the one hand, that you are not increasing the data, but you want to push using semantics now, you know, to further tighten the bed of the poor.
Government have always been bringing things through the back door.
Before
that
now,
is our style.
The first national carrier, when they licensed them, the MTN, the Econet at that time,
yes.
and then which one is it?
Only two.
But they said the per second billing was not possible ever
in Nigeria
until they licensed the second national carrier, which was Globacom. And then it now came and crashed all the prices. And even since those prices became crashed, they made more money than when they were making during the regime of per minute. So I think what they need to do is to be creative. Even the MTN and the rest of them, they are not even the ones complaining. It is the NCC that is complaining on behalf of the small timers. The small timers can also, there are certain things the small timers can also do. Look, the issue of Nigeria, everything you want to do a unitary system. You are running a newspaper, you want your newspaper to be everywhere in Nigeria. You are forming a political party, your political party has to be all over Nigeria. A bank is everywhere. No, you want to do telecoms. You want to maintain presence. It's not possible. You could have telecom company that could service aggregate, or maybe somewhere in Benin City, or even Okene. You service Okene, you don't even come to Lagos. But they want to be everywhere in Nigeria. That's exactly what is causing this issue of what they call these predatory practices by the big players.
All right, now in a situation where, like we all have said, where people are forced to provide their own comfort. And we know that all businesses, we are encouraging e-commerce, e-everything, and a lot of people have got jobs online. Yeah. How is this going to impact a lot of businesses? The adverse impact that we're going to see?
You have to start from the beginning. The people taking these decisions are analog. They have no idea. Because like my children will say, they are born to the digital age. These people are analog people. They can't understand the dynamics that is required to push a country like this forward. And that's why a whole commissioner, a whole minister will feign ignorance.
Okay, if you could just hold the thought. We have Martins from Lagos. Martins, go ahead with your contribution. Martins? Hello? Yes, go ahead.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay. I want to ask a question. And my question is, unsolicited SMS is sent to us. We have written back that we do not want all these SMS. I don't know what is wrong. They keep sending it to you and deducting your money. What can we go to court? That's number one. Then number two, Tunde Paula said you have to pay you have to show evidence of tax or whatever that you must pay tax before taking a passport. I guess he should be educated that a passport, a Nigerian passport, is my right. As a Nigerian, it's my right. I don't have to be taxed. I don't have to do anything before I get a passport. And what does he do to somebody who is not working, who has no job, or somebody who is retired? How do you reconcile getting a passport and you want to travel? Maybe you have something to do abroad about your health or something like that. Anyway, let's leave it like that. Please, I just want you to enlighten me on solicited SMS because I want to go to court. And I'm serious about it.
All right, Martins. Thanks for your contribution. Gentlemen, we need to quickly take a break now and return to talk more on this topic. Stay with us. You're still watching Journalist Hangout, and before we went on break, the caller there, Martins, asked unsolicited SMS. Can we go to court?
Yeah, you have the right. It's called citizens action. It's called a class action. You can go and take government to court. It's because we are very docile.
We have not tested the law. We need to test this.
The law is meant to be pushed. And I'm sure people are already doing that. Somebody went to court for the unsolicited messages. Somebody went to court for the legal stamp duty. That they will obey the court, the judgment is another thing. But the process itself, you are free to do so.
And again, before we went on break, you were trying to answer a question I asked concerning e-commerce. How is this going to impact businesses?
Nigeria has 65% of our population is under 30.
Yes.
Most of them are illiterate. Most of the work they do are online.
Yeah.
Some of us have online newspapers. That's what we do. And you are looking at cost elements of trying to increase elements for people to do. That means if your cost now, because already, remember, somebody who was brought...
Martins asked, unsolicited SMS, can we go to court?
Yeah, you have the right. It's called citizens action. It's called a class action. You can go and take government to court. It's because we are very docile.
We have not tested the law. We need to test this
law. The law is meant to be pushed. And I'm sure people are already doing that. Somebody went to court for the unsolicited messages. Somebody went to court for the illegal stamp duty. That they will obey the court, the judgment is another thing. But the process itself, you are free to do so.
And again, before we went on break, you were trying to answer a question I asked concerning e-commerce. How is this going to impact businesses?
Nigeria has 65% of our population is under 30.
Yes.
Most of them are illiterate. Most of the work they do are online.
Yeah.
Some of us have online newspapers. That's what we do. And you are looking at cost elements of trying to increase elements for people to do. That means if your cost now, because already, remember, somebody who was brought in by my friend with his government, who was earning 100,000 this time last year, is effectively earning 30,000 now.
That's what it means.
That's the real value,
that's real value
of the 100,000 is earning. So if he's buying data in a month, let's say using all the smaller ones, which charges 4,000 for 10 GB. If this thing has gone through, they will now be paying equivalent of 16,000. That cost must be passed on to somebody. There's somebody to pass it on to, because they are the last line of defense. Government does not care. They've not stopped their wives from using a convoy. They've not stopped their daughters from riding jets. They've not shown us reasons why we must tighten our belts. They keep living the same way they were living when things were rosy. And the same people are asking us to make sacrifices. Sooner or later, like I tell people, especially when you go along the road and you are driving and you see the look on the faces of people at the bus stop. One day somebody will just stop your car, drag you out, and set fire to it. And we are going to that level now. Because the hunger in the land is so much that all you are looking for is a spark. And like I said on my Facebook page yesterday, I hope the spark will not be this data thing.
All right. Yes.
And then the thing is that, as I said, the under 30, the youth, the government on the one hand has failed to provide employment. These youth have been able to creatively create their employment, and they are living, on a daily basis, whatever they get online. Some of them are on this e-commerce they talk about now and so on. And then you want to increase that. If you say, as you said, suspended, it's just, what they are doing is that they just felt the pulse of the people. Oh, this thing is not yet right. They might even through the back door also bring it. So a lot of people are going to be shortchanged. A lot of these youths that the government has failed to provide employment for, that have been able to creatively do something for themselves, are going to be most affected. And if they are affected, if the youth is affected, then the whole nation is affected. I hope it will not result to the spring, the Arab Spring, that the one that happened there took place for was it Algeria at that time. We just hope it will not get to that point, because if government is failing to take care of its citizens, the citizen has now devised means to take care of the citizen. You want to take that away, then it's like push them. Once you push them to the wall, they will break down. They won't break down the wall. They will fight back.
Well, I think what government has to do is that we have to once think of the multiplier effect of any anti-masses action that we are taking in this country. Because in the last 15 years that we have had the new GSM, a whole 70% of the industry in Nigeria is hinged on the successful implementation of the telecommunication sector. So when you now choose to primitively take money or exploit those people in that particular area, then what it means is that you are sending some people out of the employment market.
All right, if you could just hold the thought. We have Mukaila from Lagos. Are you still there, Mukaila?
Yeah, I'm here. Good evening.
Go ahead with your contribution. Good evening.
Yeah, my name is Mukaila. I'm calling from Ikorodu.
Okay.
I think the people at the head of affairs of our country, they don't have any focus at all. They don't know what they are doing. Is it the masses that they have to keep taxing in order to raise funds for the country? Today I saw on CNN now that the Chinese government put a 10% increment on cars like Jaguar, Ferrari, to tax the riches. If you want to flaunt your wealth, you have to pay more tax. Our government should look inward find a way to raise money, not on the downtrodden masses. Now they are talking that they want to increase the tariff for data. How is it that Glo was able to crack their data price? In the market now, Glo has the cheapest data tariff for data in Nigeria. So what was the problem with other networks? How is Glo doing it? That they crack their price, that they don't have any problem with it, and others are not clamoring for increment in data tariff. We don't have people that have ideas of how to run this country. That's just my take on it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mukaila. Tunde?
Well, like I was saying that it is not the business of government to help private sector to survive. It is the business of government to provide infrastructure, but it is not their business
and environment.
But it is not their business to tell them what margin of profit to make. If they are assisting them in the margin of profit they have to make, it means they are assisting in pushing the downtrodden far below the abyss, and they are assisting in pushing Nigerians and punishing Nigerians that are weak. So when you are doing that, like he said, the spark will happen one day. And I hope
but isn't it ironic that the operators are not even the one asking?
They are not the one. I said the government that is
they are not. The operators are making money and they are happy.
The first thing I did was
declaring profit.
Like I said,
very high level people in all these companies, and they were not happy because somebody who has 30% of the market share is doing something now. Strategy that is built for the next 48 months.
You want to take 10% away?
Take 10% away from other people.
And give it to other people.
You are now forcing him to go back to a regime where we remain at 30% when he was just on the verge of becoming the market leader.
Yes.
As far as data is concerned. He has made a strategic decision based on money.
And has also invested.
He has gone to banks. He has taken money at 35% to do this in the next 2 years. And somebody will sit down somewhere. One lawyer from Ibadan, my state, without any experience in public service, will sit down and agree to the rape of people. And he wants to be governor.
So let's have your final take on this.
My final is that if you must task, if you must increase or jack up, whatever nomenclature you use, you can task the postpaid. The postpaid is for the rich. So that
they are peculiar.
Make it, no, what I'm saying, make it progressive. The more you earn, the more you pay. Then to be able to service the poor. Not to take from the poor to service the rich. That's not going to work for this country.
GKB?
We are going to get there ultimately, one way or the other. Something we have to give.
Yeah.
Because we can't go on like this.
Definitely.
We've run out of heroes. And that's my problem. Right now, we have no more heroes to run to. Everybody who said they are untouchable, they have integrity, have been tested. And they've all failed.
And I think at least this government should do one thing. They should depart from the attitude of taking Nigerians for granted. All governments have formed the habit of taking Nigerians for granted. They should stop running Nigerians aground, the poor people aground, by helping them to survive this economic hardship.
Okay, now let's move on. The Independent National Electoral Commission, that's INEC, has denied any form of romance between it and the All Progressives Congress, the APC, in the just concluded governorship election in Ondo State. The State Resident Electoral Commissioner, Segun Agbaje, said the election was not rigged and such allegation is highly embarrassing. But why are we talking about rigging the election after a contender, Olushola Oke, Governor Olusegun Mimiko, and others have scored INEC high for conducting a transparent process? Now, were there evidences of rigging?
Well, I think if the high players, that is, those who invested much, those who invested much in this election, can come out, including the opposition, to say that they gave INEC a fair mark. I think, you see, Nigerian politicians are in the natural habit of getting noticed and getting attention. And like somebody in the PDP, Sheriff Ashon, has said, he said, anybody who is annoyed should go to the court. I think we have every opportunity to test the law. As we also have an opportunity to test the law on this communication thing. The civil rights groups in Nigeria should go out to test the law, because we are not in an era of democracy again. We are in an era of protecting the right of the economic right of Nigerians to live. So I think the politicians should just save us by going to the court to test the law. Let them test the law with their facts and stop unnecessarily drawing attention to themselves.
Issues. Okay, GKB?
It's just grandstanding.
You're just drawing attention to themselves.
You must talk to your base. You must make sure they are not deflated. Because if people are being told that vote for us and cook a pot of soup, And we all know that everybody made monetary offers to the voters. Only the one person did more. Some said cook soup. Some people said cook soup with banga. And some said cook soup with cow leg. Everybody provided money for cook soup.
So are you saying that vote buying is same as rigging? Is that what you're
Vote buying, vote inducement, vote encouragement, whatever time you want to use for it. The fact that everybody is guilty and the biggest rigger won. So in that manner, it is free. Whether it's fair is, of course, subjective to what the courts will say. But as far as that is concerned, it's free. And remember, you can only rig where you are popular. You can't do that in an unpopular place.
And we
Not
have
to
to
do
know
anyway.
when you look at the margin between the three major contenders, you will discover that they all try their possible best. But the better, the more popular, and those who have a deeper pocket won the highest vote. So when you look at that, 240, somebody has 240, 244,
250,
the margin is not too much. So it means they all work very hard, and that the ground was level playing. There was a
I was going to ask that. Was there a level playing field for the
all of them?
But for me, I think the way I see it is that Nigerian politicians are peculiarly bad losers. Yeah. They are peculiarly bad losers. Because when the pendulum swings your way positively, you praise the system to high heavens. But if the pendulum swings the other way, then the authorities are not doing what is right. I give an example. When Wike's court went to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court declared him the winner, Nigerian courts
they have demonstrated the high level,
the rule of law has come to stay. But when the case now went against them, so person is repressing the votings. I think what we need to do is that we should stop this issue of allowing the courts to determine winners of our elections. Elections are conducted. There are electors or electorates who determine who win election. We should allow our votes that we cast to determine who wins. But now that we have we have bad legal system, they have to quarrel, they have to go to court, they have to spend money, they have to make some certain sons rich in order to determine winners. Our democracy is not going to work that way.
Okay, now we need to take a break and return to talk more on this issue. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with Journalist Hangout. Before we went on air, Charles, you were trying to share a thought.
About the peculiar nature of the Nigerian position that they are bad losers. What we should do is that, yes, we are in it. Our political system is evolving. We're not yet at that period where we can say, okay, this is Eldorado. Even what you do like this, all the devices we use now. I mean, there was time in the past, 10 years ago, the handset that we're using today now, the cell phone, it's not the cell phone. So it's not what we're using. But they continually improve upon them until we go to this level. And I'm sure even all this Android we're using now, something's going to happen next time that we also relegate this Android. So that's the way our policy should be. We should not allow the cost to decide. Then look, I think that's why I want what Mimiko did. And what Olusola Oke did is what others should do. A winner has emerged. Let's congratulate the winner. Let's work with it. Ondo State is one state. Yeah. Mimiko, Akedo, a lot of them are sons and daughters or sons of Ondo State. So they must join hands together rather than
make it work.
That's what I'm telling you. Even the Mimiko himself is so clever. I mean, the man is very intelligent. Because, having failed to install his successor, it was going to be a political offer in Ondo State because at the center, there's nothing for him. Ondo State, so what he did is his plan B that he had that by having clandestine arrangement with Akeredolu. Now that he has congratulated Akeredolu, he's going to be the loser. Is Jegede because Mimiko will find a way that he will rehabilitate himself.
He also did that to give himself a soft landing.
That's what I'm saying. He's going to rehabilitate himself. Already you are seeing that even Akeredolu even said there's no need for him to probe because government is a continuum. So it tells you that Mimiko already have been rehabilitated.
That so he should write a clean handover note.
So Jegede is going to
now, but something you mentioned that I'd like us to discuss is where the courts are determining certain things. So we saw what went on with regards to having a particular candidate, especially that's the PDP candidate, 3 days to the election was when he was able to, where they decided that, okay, this is the candidate for this party. Now, what the courts coming in back and forth, is this having a negative impact on our politics?
Well, I think there's something that we have to acknowledge. it is not only the political party that are at fault as a result of a level of underdeveloped politics. Recent events in the last 1 month has shown that the judiciary is culpable. And with the new trend in the judiciary now, with the probe everywhere, it means everybody is trying to absorb himself of being culpable of not allowing the system to work. So I think the new change in the judiciary is also a contributing factor to deepening democracy. Because in those days, it is the political parties that will determine, it is the pocket that you have that will determine the kind of judgment you have. If you know that it is becoming increasingly possible for you to have the kind of judgment you wanted, then it means the judiciary can be relatively free to be an unbiased umpire.
I don't
but he had just 3 days to the election.
But mine is that I think what is causing all this, even the judiciary became
overwhelmed.
Became overwhelmed. Yeah. The reason is very simple, is that the absence of internal democracy in our parties is what resulted to going to the judiciary. Judiciary normally is not supposed to even play part in this at all. Because even during our war,
they never played any part.
No, they are playing part. Because when you go to them, they play part.
Do you know the part? They were performing their role.
No. What I'm saying is that if there exists internal democracy in these parties, there won't be any recourse to the courts. They will have internal mechanism to settle their differences.
Let me now take you back.
Gentlemen, if you could just hold the thought, we have Ojo from Lagos. Ojo, are you there?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
I've been watching this program for a while now. The major I find the problem is that when I keep saying that it's going to prove medical administration, I was so embarrassed about that because the reason why we voted for him is for him to prove medical administration. Even though if medical will pay a salary for the whole month, people of those states will not vote for him anymore because he has supported those people. They're showing a critical law to the party.
Ojo, okay, I guess the lines were not clear.
No, I was saying today that what I'm saying, hold on, let me say this. Look, if the internal democracies in these parties are allowed to work, they won't have any recourse to the courts. So the court will be free from this entanglement. It is the politicians that have corrupted the courts. When you get to someone, you want to have this winner take all, at all cost. Then you bring a huge sum of money to a judge that is earning peanuts, whose car is the push me, push you car, and then he can buy an SUV. The judge will, we cave in. But what I'm saying is that the
judge is Nigerian.
It's also part of the system. So what the parties should do is to strengthen internal democracy so that once a candidate has been brought out, let everybody fight behind the candidate for the general benefit of the party.
Do you know the fundamental problem we have with the parties?
All right, we need to quickly round up this topic.
The parties allowing them. It's a question of the people controlling the party. In the Second Republic,
is the absence of the people
it's still within the party.
Look, let me tell you something. When you allow somebody to come to join the party 2 months to the election and he comes with bags of money to buy everybody. So,
Awolowo was not the richest man in UPN.
No. It was the people that were.
But as a student, people were paying their subscription.
I was paying subscription to be a member of the party. But
Awolowo was not the richest.
A rich man would just come today, join the.
No, what I'm saying is the absence of democracy. If Awolowo was not the richest,
you are folding your arms. You need to contribute to this.
What I'm saying, Awolowo was not the richest in UPN. And yet he still had the grasp.
He allowed the people to control the party.
The Constitution gave powers to the courts to interpret the law.
What they were just doing.
But if you don't go to them and you settle the matter.
Hold on, Charles.
If you look at the Electoral Act, the one that was handed over in 1999 was not the one we are using now. There are so many amendments based solely on judgments from courts. And every time your politicians will tinkle with it to make it work in their way. And even whatever we do now, they will still go ahead and find a way
to circumvent.
Ultimately, everybody will do their job. The president will execute, the legislators will legislate, and judges will judge. No, we all know as Nigerians, because we know of a judge who was collecting money for his father-in-law's burial, mother-in-law's burial, and anticipating the marriage of his children. He was getting the money. So you have to be careful. Things are bad, but whether we like it or not, you cannot demonize the judiciary to a level that will lose hope in it. Yes. Because ultimately, if we do that, that's the end of this country.
Which is why I'm saying that the parties, that's what I'm saying, the politicians will allow eternal democracies to work so that they won't have any recourse to go to court and overwhelm them.
But how possible is that going to be?
It's their job to grandstand.
But they worked effectively in the First Republic. So what did they do?
That was the First Republic.
But First Republic, they are still the same Nigerians.
People take control. Look, let me tell you what
things have changed, remember?
In Ogun State, late Chief of preferred late Chief of Sojo to be the governor of the state. The moment the party went to primary, the Egbado people, they casted their vote with Jebu. Onabanjo became the governor. I would say the party is supreme. In Oyo State, he preferred Alayode, who happens to be the late teacher to late Shibola Ige. He defeated Shibola Ige, and Shifalo said the party has this way. If it is today,
were there no cause? Why didn't they go to court?
Well, no, they didn't go to court because the party had their way. If it is today, a godfather will sit down somewhere and say, my candidate must be.
That's what I'm saying. We could go back to that and allow eternal democracies to determine.
Gentlemen,
okay, can we just take a pause now? We have a caller from Zaria. Go ahead with your contribution. Hello? Are you there?
Hello.
Yes, go ahead with your contribution. Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Sunday. Go ahead.
I need to complain you about this program that you are running. Based on the issue that we are discussing, the issue of the media, you cannot separate the media from any nation in Nigeria, politics of Nigeria. Even though if internal democracy is okay, there will be a chance that the media will come in and sanitize whatever conditions.
Well, the lines are not too clear, but I could peek internal democracy, sanitize, and all of that. GKB, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, simply because, like I said, we have to we are just asking people to go to court to enforce their rights. The same thing applies to the political parties. You have to if you think your party is not doing you a favor, or they are going against your interest, you have the right to go to court. And that, of course, will mean that we'll come back and tinker with the law to make it better. Remember, Rotimi came without contesting. And remember that what happened in Kogi never happened before.
Yes.
Despite the fact that it's obvious that if they do the election 500 times, the man coming behind can never meet that one. But some people are interested in making sure somebody doesn't get there. So they have to ensure the law was squared. So tomorrow the team will go to that side and they will tinker with the law to tell you that once it's clear that you cannot meet the man who died, then let's give it to the deputy. But it's not really working now because it's not in
their own interest.
So don't trust politicians. What about they
say? If we allow the commission to continue to have their way, they will not go to get anywhere.
Our final takes.
Our politics is going to, our democracy is going to remain latent for the next 50 years if we don't rescue or if we don't find a way to have a say. Because as I'm saying, we are all running democracy. Democracy has to do with rule of law, and has to do with negotiations, has to do with compromises. But when people have to always say, oh, it must be this way or not that way, and then we fight and fight, then we are not deepening our democracy. What I should allow people to do is that once you have a political party where you congregate, decisions are taken. If you don't go by it, there should be internal mechanisms there. You've set up a committee to review certain, and then they find a way to resolve the dispute. Then they go to court.
Go ahead.
This is our fourth electoral cycle. We are still a very young democracy.
Young as almost 20.
We are almost 20 months. And the democracy, remember those who even brought this are still rigging their own election. Yes. So we have nothing to look forward to. And they've been doing it for 200 years. And they are still rigging it. And they are still stopping
you have evidence?
So let's give our democracy a chance. 16 years ago, nobody thought this would survive. Remember, the people who are going to office were people that were never doers. Because people who went to school,
third class and
people went to school assumed that it will not last. So I should leave my job and take a risk.
But today now,
that's why the distortion is in the system.
Well, so far there's no other. We all agree there's no other alternative to democracy. The people of Nigeria should take control of their destiny by taking control of the machinery of the political parties. Because it is the political party that will throw up. What they throw up is what you use, is what you have to vote for. So when they throw up somebody who has a deep pocket, they will contend with all this kind of thing we are doing today. Deep pockets have taken control of the parties. And that's why they are buying the judiciary, buying the bar, buying journalists, buying everybody.
They didn't buy me. Nobody bought me.
Thank you. Thank you,
Nobody has bought me.
gentlemen. All right. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming on the show. Well, that's all on Journalist Hangout. Join us tomorrow for another exciting episode of the program. Watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our Facebook channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I am Veronica Dan Ikboy. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.